Alright, hello guys, in this video we're going to be talking about all of our upcoming snowstorms. There's a few minor ones and a couple big ones I'm eyeing on, so we're going to talk about probably about maybe 4 or 5 different systems in this video, so it's going to be a very exciting one. All of the United States is going to be covered, Western, Midwest, Northeast, all of you are going to be involved with this video, so stay tuned. Now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends and family if they live in the impacted regions. Now let's get right into things. We're looking at our current hazards. This has been something I've been doing for weeks and weeks now, where I just like to show you guys all the hazards coming up, and you can see the most imminent snow impact area is going to be out there in the western United States, as well as a little bit of upstate New York there, or western New York there by the Great Lakes. We'll talk about all of these regions in just a second. Now we're going to get started with a little bit of your Great Lakes and Midwest. We have some snow showers coming in, going to be today, which today, by the way, is Monday through Tuesday, the 14th, and then heading through the 15th, and the 15th is going to be wrapping up. So let's get started. You see some snow showers there from Minnesota, Iowa, and then by the time we're at about, it's going to be pretty late tonight. I'd say about 2 a.m. tonight, heading into the 14th. We're going to have some more moderate snow showers there for Wisconsin, and those eventually head up into Michigan, the Upper Peninsula there, at some point by morning time. And then you can see here by the time we're at about the 15th, 2 a.m., we do see some snow showers enter the New England states a little bit there. And by the time we're at the 15th morning time, they're out of here. And here's your snowfall map for that one. You can see a general dusting to 3 inches there for the Great Lakes, and then also for a little bit of the interior New England areas, we will have some snow showers, a little bit of a snow system there to get things started. Now, we're about to get into a system that takes a similar track, but it's actually going to be a lot more major than that one, or at least a little bit more major than that one. So that's going to be very exciting to take a look at right now. All right, so as you can see here, we have, with this one, we're going to be starting out on the 15th, and this is going to be about 2 a.m. on the 15th. We have some snow showers starting up there for the Dakotas, and they're going to be a little bit more moderate right off the bat. You can already tell they're a little bit more moderate there. Let's move on a frame, and this is going to be by afternoon time on the 15th, and we can see some general, this is probably going to be a lot more consistent, moderate snow there for the Upper Peninsula and Wisconsin. You can see we actually have a low pressure system just over Chicago there, where we might see the precipitation falling as rain. Some areas to your north getting snowfall there. Now, as we move on a couple of frames, this eventually makes its way also to upstate New York and New England there, which is going to be very exciting. And we see, again, moderate to heavy snow there for maybe the Adirondacks through into Vermont, southern Vermont especially, and southern New Hampshire there. We actually have a low pressure system there over some of the Great Lakes regions there. So let's move on one more frame, and you can see this really starts to involve Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and a lot of upstate New York. There was some lake-enhanced bands as well, but moderate snow, this one could actually lead to some 3 to 6 inch amount accumulations. And then basically by the time we reach the night of the 16th, I think that's going to be Thursday the 16th, kind of late evening time, it'll all be said and done. Now we're about to look at our total snowfall map for that one, and then start heading to some other regions of the United States, which is going to be very, very exciting. Now, starting out with our dusting to 3 inch layer, you can see it looks very similar when we just have this layer from the Dakotas through Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. We have a dusting to 3 inches. And then also Pennsylvania up through a lot of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. They're all expecting to get a dusting to 3 inches, or at least seeing flakes for a lot of these regions. Let's add a 3 to 6 inch layer here. Well, our first one there is going to be for the Upper Peninsula and Southern Peninsula there of Michigan, as well as a bit of Wisconsin, where we're expecting to get 3 inches plus, probably closer to 3 inches, so 3 to maybe 4 inches, but really 3 to 6 inches. A few areas might approach 6 inches, I believe. And then we actually have a second area of 3 to 6 inches as well over there on the northeastern side of the storm. As it moves into New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, we see a lot of heavier, consistent snow for those areas. So we also get a 3 to 6 inch region for those northern New England areas, where we're also, again, expecting 3 to 4 inches, maybe 6 in some regions. As we actually have a 6 to 10 inch region for that New England area as well. The very northern regions of upstate New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and then through a portion of central Maine. We're expecting to get 6 to 10 inches of snow for a pretty good sliver of the New England states there with this second, a little bit more potent system. Now, in my weekly forecast, I mentioned, if you watch that, the potential for a very major snowstorm coming up, and this is actually going to be that storm that we're about to talk about. It's going to affect the Midwest, the central United States, and then also the Mid-Atlantic and northeastern United States. This one could be a potential big one coming up this weekend, and you might have already heard about it. We're about to talk about that very exciting storm. Now, this is going to be the look Thursday heading into Friday. You can see we have a lot of icy precipitation, freezing rain indicated by those orange colors. The purple is more of a sleet. And then we see some snow in Missouri as well. And that's the beginning of what could become a very major storm Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. This one looks to be our next major snowstorm. I know it's really tough to call them this far out, so I'm not really going to give a snowfall forecast for this one yet, but I am going to show you some of the areas that might be impacted, a look at the potential future radar, and some exciting stuff like that. So we're getting into that right now. Let's move on a frame. This is probably 2 a.m. on Friday, and as we head towards Friday afternoon, you can see a lot of snow from the Dakotas through Minnesota, Wisconsin, portions of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and down through even Ohio and Kentucky. Very long area of precipitation, as that low pressure system is located somewhere near Colorado and Kansas. Very, very exciting stuff here. Let's move on a frame, and this is going to be about 2 a.m. on Saturday, and you can see the snow stretches down all the way into Virginia and North Carolina, potentially even. So that's why I said the Mid-Atlantic, because we do see this actually impact a very, very big area there. Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, including Chicago, Indiana, Ohio. We're all at risk of getting a lot of snow at this one. I'm going to show actually the total snowfall that was in the thumbnail at some point after this one. So we'll get a good idea of how much snowfall they're expecting over the next, 300 and so hours for the entire United States. And we'll get a pretty good view of this storm on that frame. Let's move on another one, and you can see this is when it really starts to impact the northeastern United States. Michigan, we're still holding on to some snow, but Pennsylvania, Maryland, D.C., Baltimore, Delaware, New Jersey, New York City, upstate New York, all of us getting moderate snowfall. This one could go north, this one could go south, so don't hold me to this. A lot of people have that problem where I'm just showing you guys what the models are showing about 4 days out, and then people are like, oh, it didn't snow in Delaware. Well, this one could very easily go 100 miles north in the next 4 days. The models don't have that good of an idea of what's going to happen, but sometimes they're right. More times than not, they're right, but usually they just have an idea, and it usually goes in a different direction. But it does really reference that idea, if that makes sense. Now, let's move on another frame. We're going to start zooming into the northeastern United States. So New England's about to get really impacted by this one. This is about maybe 8 p.m. on Saturday night there. Let's move on another frame, and you can see coastal Maine starts to really get impacted with this one by Sunday morning. And then by the time we're at about this is probably Sunday evening, we're all said and done. Maybe some snow showers left over for New England, but we're pretty much all said and done. Now we're about to look at that total snowfall map that I mentioned before, which is going to be very, very exciting to take a look at here. It's going to be very interesting to see how much snowfall this model is expecting for the western United States, the Midwest, and the northeastern United States. Now, as you can see, for the Midwest, in those pink colors, we're expecting 6 to 12 inches of snow for all of those purple colors. And this also extends into the northeastern United States. This is with all three of the systems I just showed, by the way. Then we even have a magenta kind of reddish color there. That's where we're at about 12 to 24 inches of snow. And you see a little bit of that more gold color there for northern Maine. Yeah, that's where we're expecting 24 inches plus, according to this model, over the next, well, this is through the 20th. So the next 7 days, this is how much snowfall this model is expecting. But as we take a look out west for those Rockies, and particularly up against the Pacific Northwest, those mountain ranges out there, that's where we see that really bright gold color. That's where this model is picking up on the potential for, 44 to 60 inches of snow for some of those mountains there in Oregon and Washington. Just a ton of snow. Again, the gold is anywhere over 24 inches of snow, but as it gets into those really bright gold colors, that's where we're closer to 36 to 60 inches of snow. Very, very exciting stuff. You can see throughout the Rockies, we have 12 to 24 inches expected as well. Now, I want to draw your attention back to the simulated radar here, and this is on the 23rd, so we're getting into the really extended range. Don't pay too much attention to the individual storms or where they're impacting here. Pay more attention to the trend. The fact that we're seeing these things pretty consistently in the long range is a good sign that we will probably see one or two storms pretty similar to this track. So take this with a huge grain of salt. This is the 23rd of January here, and we see the development of a nor'easter beginning. These storms start typically around Texas and in the Gulf, and then they make their way into the southeastern United States and up into the New England states, and that's where they become a true nor'easter. They're not a nor'easter yet, but this is where these storms begin, and we see that kind of molding down there. And let's move on to the 25th, and this storm makes its way all the way up. This one doesn't really take the coastal route. It takes the more inland route, so this would really affect areas like Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan the most. But again, this is so far out, this could go way west, way east, way north, way south. But really the important part is that it's showing storms developing in the Gulf. And that's a really good sign for nor'easter type pattern to set up here in the future. Also, we have another one set up around the 28th, and this is very, very extended range. Obviously, this is past 15 days out, I believe. So very, very far out there. We have a low pressure system there. The GFS likes to do some wacky stuff, but this one's offshore of Florida and Georgia, bringing snow to even the southeastern United States. So we are headed into a pattern where there's going to be cold in the eastern United States and frequent storms building in the Gulf. That's the look as of right now, at least. Again, this is a pretty extended range. But I just wanted to draw you guys' attention to that because it is possible that we head into a pattern that could really support cold in the east and then potentially storms growing in the Gulf, which could be anything from a storm down there in the southeast or really just storms heading into the Great Lakes. Either way, it looks like in our extended range, we will be seeing some pretty interesting snowstorms coming up. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends and family if they do live in these impacted regions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.